everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. We're in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. I am John Schmeelk.
You look different.
Top of the morning to you.
Hi, Johnny. How we doing?
Shawnee. What's up, buddy? It's been a long time.
Top of the afternoon? What do we, nooner?
For you, it's always top of the morning, Sean.
You're right.
I don't want to have that discussion with you, for the record.
Always top of the morning. Good to see you, man.
Yes, good to see you too, man.
Yeah, you have less hair than Madeline. So
yes.
I'm trying to get used to that right now as I look over at you.
Yes, I'm sorry you have much, you have something much less attractive to look at today.
Good to see you, and happy Halloween week.
Yes,
it's no longer a day. It is now a week when you have kids.
Yeah, it is a week now. Clara's already had 3 Halloween events.
Oh my goodness!
So she has 2 costumes this year because we were afraid if she just had the one, it would get ruined by the time we got to actual
100%.
Halloween.
Yeah.
So she went with, and we will get the football here, folks. This wasn't planned. She did Hermione Granger from Harry Potter.
Okay.
For the first 3 events, and now moving forward, there's I think 2 more events, maybe something. Are you aware of the Descendants?
Oh my goodness, am I aware? I know the whole playlist. My daughters are all in. I took them to the Descendants at the Prudential Center.
Oh,
they sang every word.
The Descendants zombies.
Yes, the zombie.
Clara went to the one at MSG at the Garden.
Oh my goodness!
So
it's that and K-pop.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my goodness!
I banned her from watching K-pop Demon Hunters because I watched the first 5 minutes of it and I thought it was inappropriate, and then another parent convinced me to watch the whole thing without her to change my mind.
Yeah. Are you changed?
I think I haven't told her yet.
You made the
Clara, hopefully you're not watching. I think we're gonna, once Halloween's over, I think we are going to give her permission to watch it.
Okay. Yeah, my daughters love the songs. So it's like when we get in the car, they're like, "Daddy, can we play DJ?" And they play it over and over. And my son just looks at me, he's like, again, like this song again.
How old are your daughters now?
10 and 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. Clara's 8, so they're all right.
Yeah,
in the same,
they're right in that thing.
They're in the
things. But I feel you on the costumes. Here's my question.
So Clara's Rise of Red will be the second one. So she has the red wig, the red costume. I think that's Descendants 4, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. It might be 3.
Don't ask me to label them. Yes. I can tell you what Rocky it is 1 through 5, but not the Descendants. So my question to you, John, is: do you go with the costume with her? Like, do you kind of assimilate your costume with her?
I don't do costumes.
You don't do costumes?
I don't do costumes.
Okay. Wow.
The wife wants me to do a costume.
You slam that door shut real quick. And you put your foot down.
And I have so far resisted.
Wow.
I don't know how permanent that's going to be.
Okay.
But I've survived the first 8 years of my daughter's life. The problem is that one of these days my wife's going to come with an idea for the whole family.
Yes.
And she knows this. Like, if she comes up with the right theme,
like Despicable Me, like if everybody does a character
Star
or something.
Like, if I get to dress up like Darth Vader or Boba Fett, guess what? I'm probably going to be okay with that.
I'm with you. And if you're outside and it's cold, you could be Chewie. Then you're warm.
I would absolutely be, like, if I could be Chewie, like my 2 kids can be Ewoks or something like that, like I would absolutely do that.
Chewie would be awesome. Mandalorian, like that goes right into that.
100%.
That's a badass outfit.
I'd be good with that. Like,
the fact that you've been able to dodge it, at the younger years, like I think you're good, because as they get older, they don't want to be associated with mom and dad.
Well, my son's only 3, so we still have him in the mix.
So you still got a couple of years where the pressure is going to be high.
He is Cookie Monster this year, by the way.
You know what's tough is I jumped on that costume situation early because I'm like, you know what, I want to be the fun dad, and I got into it. I love when my kids get dressed up, and I love being a part of it.
Yeah.
But then now the expectation is, well, what are you going to be this year? And now it's it's like, all right, if you take a year off, then you feel like a real deadbeat because now you're like, all right, am I tapping out? But it does get tough with multiple kids and trying to kind of coordinate all of the costumes and make them all work together.
An underrated aspect of parenting is keeping the expectations low.
The less that they think you could do, the better.
Correct. Yes, that is correct.
That's the less you can mess up.
By the way, that is the one problem. I'm sure you know the show Bluey, correct?
Oh yeah,
it's a great show.
Bluey and Bingo.
Bluey's an awesome show, but they do raise the expectations for parenting in Bluey.
Yeah,
they are very involved at all times. Because at some point you're like, kids, you got to go play on your own. Like, I can't be involved in your games at all times. I have housework to do. I have to do taxes.
Yeah, 100%. Bluey is on every weekend. Saturday.
Bluey's great, and I love Bluey. It's a great show.
It's definitely, now they don't even want to watch it on the regular TV. They want to go to the app so they can just binge watch, and it's like episode after episode after episode.
And they want to pick the episode, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, we're good times. We're in the same boat.
No, we are.
We're in the same boat.
Absolutely.
But it's like I watch film while we're watching Bluey.
See, Shaun, you can't have these conversations with Madeline, can you?
No, it's a little different vibe. She's probably working on her costume for different kind of parties. Yeah. She's got the adult party.
Yes.
We're at the kid party.
Yeah, because we're old and have children. We don't have adult fun anymore.
The last thing about the whole kids and Halloween stuff is every year it's like the candy situation is out of control. And we end up with more candy at our house after Halloween from the stuff that we didn't pass out.
Yeah.
So you have a whole tin of it, and then you're going on getting more candy. And then my wife, 2 days after Halloween, she's like, get it out of here. And so it's like mass exodus. She doesn't
because
candy.
If it's in the house, she's going to eat it, and she
She
doesn't
will
want
eat
to.
it too, yeah.
Well,
So
she will eat it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so you try to limit it.
No, I understand.
But she showed me an article one time. She was like, there's a parenting hack where you don't restrict the kids for like 36 hours. They can eat as much candy as they want.
And they get tired of it.
And they get sick of it. And it's like if they just binge eat, and then they're like, I'm done. Like I don't want it. We have never tried that because
no, neither have
I think my wife's worried that they're just going to keep going, keep mowing it down. Like
she knows your children's DNA.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
Like, I don't think they will ever tap out of the Twix and the Milky Ways and the Snickers.
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Milky Way is my favorite candy.
Oh, Milky Way. Okay.
Yeah,
I like Milky Way
too. But I'm a big peanut butter chocolate. So I love the Reese's peanut butter cups. I'm a big caramel guy, so I like Milky Way. I like Twix.
I'm a big caramel and chocolate guy, so I'm Twix.
I do the chocolate.
100 grand.
Yeah, 100
Milk
grand.
Dud.
100 grand is very underrated.
Extremely underrated candy bar.
My kids are like, I don't want that. I'm like, I will take 100 grand all day long.
The candy or the dollar amount, one or the other.
Sign me up. Yeah,
excellent.
Chewy candy and all that stuff. Milk Duds, love it.
Milk Duds good.
Whoppers, I love it. My wife hates Whoppers.
Oh, so you like the malt balls?
I love the malt. I love all that stuff. So chocolate stuff, I'm all for it. The gummies and this all that other stuff. No.
And like, I'm not a Skittles guy either.
Yeah,
I can't get.
I like them, but I can go without them. I don't need them.
And I don't like peanut butter, so that actually
you're shrinking.
So that limits my window.
Yeah.
Like caramel and nougat, I'm good, but once you get into the peanut butter area, I'm not so much.
So Three Musketeers,
good.
You're good. Mm-hmm. Snickers, you're good.
Good.
Kit Kat.
Oh, love Crunch bars.
Yeah,
love a nice Crunch bar.
Where are you on the Butterfinger? Because that one I feel like is.
I'm not.
It's
a
not
Butterfinger
really.
guy.
It's like peanut butter, but it's like it sticks in your teeth kind of. It's like a weird kind of.
Yeah, nah, but Butterfinger I'm not into.
Okay. All right.
Baby Ruth, no good.
So one other hack that my wife found was
also more of a dark chocolate guy than a milk chocolate guy, by the way.
Dark chocolate. Okay,
yeah.
I'm a fan of that. The special dark.
I love the special dark.
So you take all the chocolate candy bars or the little minis from the Halloween leftovers, and you take like cookie dough, plain cookie dough, and you put the candy bars. They're called Halloween like monster cookies. And so you take the chocolates out instead of throwing it out or getting rid of it or just eating it by itself. You put them in the cookies.
Do you chop them up or you put them in whole?
No, you could chop them up if you want, but you just put them in the little bite-sized ones, the mini ones. You put them in the cookies, and then you've got like Halloween monster cookies with the leftover Halloween candy.
Kind of a surprise in the middle.
Yeah.
Ah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, and you don't know which mini one's in the middle, so you're kind of get the extra surprise.
Right. It's a little surprise.
Now, if I bit into it and it was like the Mr. Goodbar, I'd be pretty annoyed. I'm not a Mr. Goodbar guy.
Mr. Goodbar, you don't like the nuts?
No, I don't like the nuts.
Okay.
Now, chocolate with almonds I'll do, though. Okay. Like a chocolate bar with almonds in it, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but not the mound.
Mounds are okay. It's coconuts, all right.
You like the nuts. Peanut M&Ms I will take all day long over regular M&Ms.
Yeah, see, I'm not a peanut. I'm a guy. I don't like peanuts.
Gotcha. Okay, so you have parameters.
Pretzel M&Ms. Have you had a pretzel M&M before?
I have.
They're very good. I like
Phenomenal.
the pretzel M&Ms. Those are good.
I like this. I'm getting now
we're getting hungry.
Now I kind of want some candy.
All right, Giants coming off. What are we talking about again? Candy? I don't know. Giants coming off a loss to the Eagles. Shaun, we don't need to rehash what happened there, unless you want to kind of give your 2 cents real quick, especially on the defense, which really struggled.
Yeah, well, I mean, since we're talking about candy, this is like eating a warhead right now. Like the pucker power after losing to the Birds right now. It's like the lemon drops. Like this. Yeah, after we beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, it felt like, all right, we know this is going to be a different game. And playing down there obviously adds a little different element.
The Giants were better in the trenches than the Eagles on both sides on the Thursday night game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
when's the last time we could say that?
We dominated that game. Like, it wasn't just, the Thursday night game wasn't a fluke. It wasn't, hey, we won on a last second drive or a field goal.
Or a bunch of takeaways.
It was
something, yeah.
I mean, we clobbered them. And I don't know the last time that we physically dominated that game.
Agreed.
And then this game felt totally different. Now, granted, Jalen Carter didn't play in that Thursday night game. He did play in this game this past Sunday, but it felt like early on our defense struggled right out of the gate. I mean, the first drive again, Saquon Barkley got hot quick, and that just we never seemed to be able to slow that train down. And when the Eagles, when they're running the ball well, everything else just layers off of it, and it just seems like it's a boulder that's really hard to stop once they get that going.
And it was big boy football, Sean. It was 12 personnel. It was extra. How many times did Fred Johnson go out there as the extra offensive lineman?
Yeah, they came into it with a plan. Yeah. And you know what? You can say maybe they deviated a little bit because A.J. Brown was out, and it was like, hey, you know what? Let's get back to the basics. But to be honest with you, when I was just breaking down the Eagles before the Giants even played them, and everybody was saying, what's wrong with the offense? Well, They got away from what they were doing last year. Last year, Saquon had 2,000 yards rushing. They were a run-first offense, and then they banged you up with the explosive play action and the deep shots down the field. So I don't know why, but it took them until this point in the season to kind of get back to that.
Well, they tried to run. They just haven't run successfully.
Yeah.
Saquon was 3.3 yards a carry.
And they've had a lot of turnover in the offensive line position as well. They've had a lot of injuries. Landon Dickerson, I don't think he didn't play against us in the Thursday night game.
No, he did not.
And then, I think it's Toth, he ended up moving over to center. He played guard when we played him on Thursday night, and then he moved to center in this game.
He actually did a pretty good job at center for them in that game.
He did.
Okay.
I mean, he held up against Dexter, which is not easy to do.
Which is part of the problem, by the way.
But I think Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, I mean, look, they're two of the best tackles in the league right now, and I thought they played like it against the Giants on Sunday.
What's wrong? And now I'll get into the defense here. And I did a deep dive here. I looked at a bunch of different numbers. I'm going to give you a few just to kind of give me a basis of it, and then we'll kind of dive into the run defense first. Then I have some stuff on the pass defense too I want to hit on before we get to your calls here. Okay, so basic stats. Yards allowed per play. I like that better than the yards per game because it gives you an idea of how much the defense is on the field and stuff like that. So yards per play, Giants are 26th overall
for the whole season. This is the whole season through week 8.
Through 8. It's by mid-season. I think it's a good time to kind of do like a little self-scout thing, right?
100%.
So 26th in yards allowed per play, 29th in yards allowed per game. Pass yards allowed per play, 11th. Actually not bad. Pass yards allowed per game, 24th. Rush yards allowed per play, last in the league.
Wow.
Per game, third to last. Now, some more advanced stats. I'll give them to you. These are overall efficiency type of numbers, all right? Overall, DVOA is 26th, EPA per play is 28th, success rate is 23rd. So that's all in the mid-20s. That's overall. Against the pass, DVOA 18th, EPA 19th, success rate 15th. So that's kind of close to the middle of the league. Rush, DVOA last, EPA last, success rate 24th.
When you say rush, that's run.
Rush, yes.
Run
yes.
Game. Not pass rush.
Run defense.
Right.
That is correct. And then if you want to look at big plays, we've allowed the second most plays of 20 or more yards this year.
On the ground.
25th.
On the ground.
No, this is overall.
Overall. Okay.
25th in the league in overall big plays allowed. In terms of rush plays of 20-plus yards, we've allowed 10 already, which is last in the league. Rush yards of 10 yards or more, we've allowed 37, which is also last in the league. Pass plays where 15 yards or more, 26, 20 yards or more, 14th, which is right in the middle of the league. So it kind of gets you to the point that, all right, the issue here is the run defense. We play with a lot. It's funny, I looked at this too. We play with a lot of light boxes, Sean. We don't like putting extra guys in the box. Here's the funny part. Our advanced numbers like EPA allowed per rush and success rate allowed per rush is better with light boxes than it is with heavy boxes. So I don't know if we're having issues when teams go to 12 personnel or bigger than that like the Eagles did last week, and our extra defensive lineman we're putting on the field isn't doing a good job, but we've actually been better with our nickel defense on the field than we have been with our base defense, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so in order to make sure we're comparing apples to apples,
yes,
with
please.
that, like I would look at what are the amount of reps that were in that nickel package defense compared to that base.
More, we're definitely in nickel more than we are in base.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So, I think the number one thing, every defensive coordinator starts out saying, look, the number one thing we have to do is stop the run. Like, that's always paramount. That is mission number one. When the Giants hired Shane Bowen from Tennessee, one of his strengths was stopping the run. I think he was 15th or better his couple years when he was the Titans defensive coordinator.
Top 5 twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were phenomenal at stopping the run. So it's a little bit surprising to see that. When you look back at this Eagles game, Saquon Barkley averaged 10.7 yards a carry.
And overall as a team, they were 8.5.
And then their backup running back was 11 yards per carry. So crazy. When you kind of look at those, obviously the game got away at the end a little bit, but those are things that I feel like have reared their ugly head all year. Like we've been giving up big runs to everybody. I feel like this whole season that has kind of been our kryptonite, and those big runs are what inflate those numbers. So
well, yeah, I mean, I've listed it right. They're last in the league in rushes allowed over 10 yards and over 20 yards. And by the way, this was the same problem last year.
Yeah.
Same problem last year.
They go hand in hand. So that to me is surprising, especially when you look at the front for the Giants. Like that is the strength. That front defensive line with
it's
Dexter,
supposed to be.
With Burns, with Thibodeau and all. So I look at the run game as where are a lot of those big runs coming from? And as I've kind of looked at a lot of those runs, look, the first 4 or 5 yards, that is, I put that on the D-line.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yards before
any
contact,
run after
right?
4 or 5 yards over that, now we're talking about second-level defenders and safety inserts.
Agreed.
And I think that is where the Giants have really struggled. There have been times where the gap integrity, 2 guys in one gap, some guys not filling, the safety's not coming down fast enough. So you could have that backside C gap as a safety, but if you're slow and rotating and coming down and diagnosing that's a run, now you've got 4 yards in between you and the back. That happened to Tyler Nubin on that big run against Saquon.
Yeah, people are killing Nubin on that play, but to me, once you get in that position in the open field one-on-one with Saquon, you're done. He can't make that tackle, but the problem is that he cannot put himself in that situation.
That's the whole point. Is he didn't recognize the run until, and he didn't react to it. So you see run, you got to come up and you got to you run up because now that shrinks his running lane. If you sit back and wait, 100%. Now you get one-on-one with 4 yards with Saquon Barkley. He's got the whole list of tricks that he can do. He can spin, he can jump over backwards, do whatever.
Two-way go, inside, outside,
so
both.
Those are things that you've got to get better at. I also think Micah McFadden, like we have not recovered really from that loss.
Completely agree with you.
He was phenomenal when he was at Will. He is great at his attack angles. And I think when you talk about big runs, the angles are such a big part of it. If you take a bad angle, you're cooked. So I think Micah McFadden, the value that he brought to this defense, it's one of those things you don't appreciate it until it's gone. And him not being out there has definitely been a factor in it. I will also say this, Bobby Okereke, there has been times where I don't know what he's looking at. And I don't know why he's so late to diagnose something. He has been a tackling machine for his first 2 years. And this year, it seems like he's like one step behind a lot of the runs. And I don't know if he's trying to do too much or he's thinking too much or he's just not seeing it. Give credit to the offense. They're doing a good job with kind of hiding some of the things they're doing and disguising some of the things with different, instead of pulling a guard, they're pulling a tight end, and maybe you don't see that.
Pulling a center sometimes too, even, by the way.
Yeah, so I think that's, when you kind of add all those things up together, you get that hot mess that you just shared with us.
Correct. All right, so let me just dig into this a little bit more, because I agree with everything you said, by the way. And I feel like a lot of those big runs, Shaun, are coming on the perimeter. It's a lot of stuff that's not running up the middle. It's stuff that's going off tackle. It's pitch plays outside. It's pin pulls that are going outside, things of that nature. So, one, talk about better versus light boxes. Drew Phillips is actually really good in the run game. And I think maybe not having him on the field hurts you when he's off the field, when you're not in nickel personnel. So that's one thing I'll throw out there, is I think maybe he's better at beating the other team's slot receiver than our extra defensive lineman is better at beating the offensive lineman that he's lined up against. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just throw that out there. But what do you think the issue has been on perimeter runs? And I guess the second part of that, then, you're talking about inserting, reading, identifying where you got to go quicker. This doesn't sound like, listening to you, that you see this as a fundamental scheme issue.
I don't think it's a fundamental scheme issue. I think it's execution more than scheme. And, listen, all it takes on defense is one guy to be out of position, and now you got a big run. And that can be, look, when perimeter runs is not just, hey, the defensive end. It could be, look, you have the defensive end slanting inside, and you've got Summering firing outside. The free safety has the force defender. Or, you're bringing a corner blitz. He's the force defender, and now they get outside of that.
What do you mean by force defender for fans that don't know the term?
So on defense, every defense has a force defender, which is they're responsible to set the edge. And sometimes it can be a defensive end. And if he is the outside guy, it's his job to never let anything outside of him. He's the force defender. He's going to force everything inside. So you are the one that sets the edge, and nothing can get outside of you. Well, if you're on a stunt, if you bring the defensive end in, you have to have somebody else replace him as the force defender. Now, it can be, if you stunt that defensive end in, it could be the linebacker that is stacked behind him. Now, he's the force defender scraping over the top. Well, if he gets blocked, if the defensive end slants in and the tight end goes up and blocks him, you lost your force defender. So now you're to the perimeter.
And that's what happened on the play with Musau. He got blocked.
Musau got sucked in. Mm-hmm. So now he's got to come up and attack the outside shoulder of that blocker, and he's the force defender. It can sometimes be a safety. So sometimes you could bring the strong safety down if it's to the tight end side. Now the defensive end slanting inside, strong safety is coming up off the edge. He's the force defender. If he gets his nose inside and boom, they bounce it, now you're to the house, you're up to the sideline. So that as an offensive player, we always want to try to pin that force defender in. Or you kick him out, and now you double team and wall the other guys in, and you kick that force defender out, and now you created a big seam. So that's another way to kind of attack that. It could be a corner if you're bringing a corner blitz, or a nickel blitz. If you got twins right, if you got a slot receiver to the right, and you're blitzing that nickel defender, now he's the force defender on the outside. And a lot of times the number one blitz for a long time on third down in sub defense is tackle here, end here, nickel blitzer out here. You bring the tackle straight up the field, the defensive end loops underneath, and the nickel defender comes outside. So that outside defender is forcing everything inside, and you've got the defensive end looping up, coming right down the barrel of the quarterback. That's a staple blitz in sub defense, which is a nickel defense. Those are things that now you can get out of whack because guys that maybe are the force defender are not used to being that force defender. So it comes down to execution. But I don't look at this like it's not something that's correctable. Look, the one thing I will say is usually when you see these stats and you see a lot of the big runs, you see a lot of missed tackles. The Giants, they're not really missing tackles. Like if you look at them, I think PFF has a grade on all this stuff. They're not missing a lot of tackles.
Yeah, I'm curious. So I can look that up right now.
I think they're top 5 in the league right now as far as least amount of missed tackles. That's something that is kind of peculiar because usually that goes hand in hand. Hey, look, if you're leading the league in missed tackles, you're going to have a lot of big runs. So it's really just guys not executing their position. Now, we've seen Tay Banks multiple times now. He's supposed to be on a run breaks out and gets in open field. He's supposed to protect outside in as a corner. And there's been times where he's kind of gotten inside and allowed the runner to go outside of him up the sideline and given up what should have been a 10-yard gain now is a 20 or 30-yard gain. So those are things that I see creeping up. And
too often guys just get blocked. Like in that Eagle game, too many times, Sean, like I stopped the all 22 in the middle of it. There is a hat on a hat everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. No one's getting off their blocks.
I think, the Eagles, look, they've been one of the best run blocking offenses for a long time now. Like they're phenomenal. Their guards and their tackles stick on blocks. They do a really good job getting movement whenever they're double teaming. But those are, the perimeter runs, a lot of times it's can you defeat a tight end block as well.
Giants have 10th fewest missed tackles in the league this year. 10th
right,
fewest.
So I mean,
that's not bad. That's good.
That kind of goes against what we're seeing statistically. So it's not poor tackling. I think it's just out of position. And, I think it's because not everybody is locked in on who has the C gap, who has the B gap. Look, I think whenever it comes to defending the run, there's some pride that goes with that. And, every good defense prides themselves on you're not going to be able to run the ball on us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Now, I did break down some of the past stuff, which I thought was interesting. In terms of coverage breakdown, I'll give this to you. Just want to get your reaction. Giants are second in the league in terms of the frequency in which they play cover one. Mm-hmm. About 33%. Only the Browns play more, which Jim Schwartz, the way he plays, not surprised.
Which cover one is man coverage with a single high safety.
Correct. And you can also have sometimes your...
So I think the Giants lead the league in man coverage as well, which would
they're
also...
second to the Browns. The Browns are first.
That also goes hand in hand with the big runs.
Explain why.
So now if you're playing man defense, all right, now all of a sudden those defenders, when that receiver takes off, right, he's trying to make it look like it's a pass. Mm-hmm. Now as a man defender, your back is to the ball. So if that guy, if you have two receivers outside and you're in man coverage and they both run outside releasing routes, those defenders have their back to the ball. So now they can't help in run support because they don't know it's a run. they think it's a pass. They're running with the receiver. So if you're in zone, if you're playing cover 2, those corners are looking at the receiver. They're looking into the backfield, and they're seeing the receiver with their eyes in the backfield on the quarterback. So they see run a lot quicker. And, you're playing cover 2 or zone. All of those defenders have their eyes in the backfield. They're going to react to the run a lot quicker than they would in man.
Interesting. So that's another factor there. So the Giants, they're around 12th or 13th in missed tackles, but again, not bad. Okay, so
do you have the man coverage on there? They were leading the league in man coverage as of, I think, 2 weeks ago.
I believe they are second to the Browns.
Second now.
I believe they're second because they play cover 1 33% and cover 0 3.5%. So that gives you around 37% man coverage rate.
And cover 0, just so you know, cover 0 means no deep safety.
No safety.
You're playing man coverage, and both safeties are up at the line within 5 yards of the ball.
Yeah, by the way, and cover 1, you can also have a robber safety in the middle of the field too. You can have 2 safeties.
And usually on the snap, somebody's rotating, flying back on cover 1 to be the deep guy.
Exactly.
But cover 0, everybody's at the line, and that means you're bringing the house.
So they've really reduced their cover 3 rate this year. Third fewest snaps with cover 3 in the league, just 23%. 25th in cover 2 at 9%. 10th most quarters defense at 16%, which oftentimes can convert into man-to-man the way those matchups kind of take place. And then cover 6, they're at about 4%. So I looked at like success rate and EPA and stuff like that, man versus zone, Shaun. It's kind of the same. EPA in man defense is 12th. Zone is 13th. Success rate, zone is 11th. Man is 25th, which is surprising. Usually your success rate of man is better. Here's the one that got me, and I'm curious to get your take on it. In zone defense, and again, the Giants play a lot of man, so these numbers will be skewed just based on the percentage of time you use these coverages. But in terms of pass plays allowed of both over 15 yards and over 20 yards, the Giants have allowed more big pass plays in man than any other team in the National Football League. Now, again, some of that is the fact that you're playing it more. So that's part of it, but still something that jumped out to me looking at it. And in zone coverage, they've allowed the 5th fewest plays of 15 yards or more, and I can't read my chicken scratch here. I think that might be the fewest passes of 20 yards or more against zone. So they've given up far fewer big plays in zone coverage, which, by the way, makes sense the way it's structured. And they've given up a lot more in man, and that goes back to their blitz rates. I did their blitz stuff too. Blitz and non-blitz, EPA and success rate is almost identical. It doesn't change. Right, people say, they got to blitz more. It's not like they've been super successful in blitz and super successful in coverage.
Yeah.
Those numbers are almost identical. And by the way, their sack rates versus blitz and non-blitz is also nearly identical, which I thought was interesting. Right. So I don't see a big thing there, but that was the one thing that jumped out at me in terms of the man and zone coverage. A lot more big plays allowed in man coverage, which, again, makes sense based on how the defenses work.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think every quarterback, when they see man coverage, they're taking the deep shot. Correct. So that's kind of like, all right, when you get those opportunities, you're not going to take the 5-yard hitch on a man coverage. Like you're signaling to go route, you're trying to take a deep shot and make a big play. I think the thing that's interesting is once you get past week 4 of the season, you're kind of looking at your own tendencies. You're not waiting for the bye week to do the self-scout. I mean, you're kind of looking at, all right, where are we struggling? Mm-hmm. And if you're looking at those numbers and you're saying, all right, look, we're much better in zone defense and not giving up the big play, let's do that more. Like, you would think that would be Vulcan logic, right? Like, let's get away from the man.
But here's the thing. What if you're in zone defense more and you have 2 safeties deep more, then that's hurting your run defense?
That goes hand in hand. So you're saying, look, we're trying not to run cover 3 or cover 2 because we want 7 or 8 guys in the box. We don't want the light box because we're trying to stop the run. So now we are kind of in a more of a man situation because we're trying to load the box to stop the run. The interesting thing with a lot of that too is I feel like the Giants this year, I don't have any statistics on this, but we have been awful at 2nd and 3rd and long. Like second and 14.
2nd and long specifically.
Like it's a given. It's a given. You can go to the bank on 2nd and 15. Like their Giants are giving up a first down.
How many 2nd and 20s had they given up? Even 12 or 13 yards to set up a 3rd and medium.
And it's mind-boggling on 3rd and 12 that a simple run play, all of a sudden, a guy gets 14 yards on a run play. When a team runs the ball on 3rd and 12, they're conceding that possession. They're basically saying, we're going to run the ball, we don't want anything dumb to happen, and we're fine punting, and then they get a first down.
Shaun, how about the 2nd and 26 last week, and Tank Bigsby runs for 28?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, that was a draw, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I believe
it's like 2nd and 26, run a draw, let's get 4 or 5 yards, maybe we get a penalty, maybe they gift us something, and he rumbles for 28 yards. So those are the things that really, they are head scratchers. I have no idea why that's happening, but it seems like it's happening week in and week out.
Yeah, the Giants. I can give you this number. I don't have a average yards on second down, but I can give you second down conversion rate. Giants are 26th in the league, so they've allowed teams to convert first downs on 30% of their second down plays.
That's not good. And third and long, which is what?
Third and long. They've actually been pretty good in third and they're in third and long 7+. They are 7th, and third and 10+. They're 9th in third down. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at offense, Shaun.
So they're
Yes, correct. So I got to look at their defense. Sorry.
All right, we got a lot of math here. A lot of numbers.
Here we go. So on defense, I can look this up very quickly. Third and long on defense, 7 more yards. They're 9th. Third and 10+. They are also 9th. Second down conversion. It's even worse. They're next to last. 39% conversion rate allowed on second downs this year for the Giants.
That's so odd. So I mean, here you've got a great pass rush. First down, you get a sack. You got them right where you want them. 2nd and 16, and then you let them off the hook. Like that is deflating. And look, how many times have you seen it? Like, all right, hey, 2nd and 16, and all of a sudden, now the defense is back out there, and all of a sudden they get another fresh set of downs. So you're not playing with a fresh defense, and then you give up a big run. So those all go hand in hand. It's kind of mind-boggling when you think about that 2nd and long. Like, why is that happening? I think if I was doing a self-scout, I would go look at all those 2nd and longs and say, what were we in?
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Were we in zone on that? Were we in man? Do we need to bring more pressure? The one thing that the Giants, I feel like, have not had to do is, you look around the league and teams that are struggling to get to the quarterback, now all of a sudden they get blitz happy because that's the only way they can get pressure on the quarterback. The Giants have been getting pressure with their front four, and they've been manufacturing pressure with the defensive line. They have not had to blitz a lot to get pressure on the quarterback. So you would think that they would be better in those categories when you were comparing the blitz versus non-blitz thing.
Yeah, I actually thought I'd see more of a difference in the blitz versus non-blitz. I didn't. Here's an interesting one. So despite the fact the Giants are next to last in second down conversion rate, again, it's at 39%, the Giants are 9th best in the league at average yards to go on second down. An average of 8 yards to go on second down for the Giants, which is, again, the 9th best in the National Football League. So you're right. It's second and longs that they're allowing a lot of these conversions on. So I think that is a good self-scout. Go see what you're in on the second and longs and see what the problem is.
Yeah, let's change it. I mean, whatever we're doing, do the opposite. Like, do something else. That's no-brainer right there. But like the Eagles game, I think the Eagles were like 2 for 11 on third down.
And they were 1 for 9 2 weeks before that, by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, third down, you're looking at statistically, you look at that and it's like, all right, something's not adding up. We're doing great on third down, but the reason why they're so good on third down is because they're awful on second down, and so they're giving up a lot of first downs on second down, which is maybe minimizing some of the third down reps.
Yeah. All right.
That's a lot of math.
Well, a lot of math, but a lot of numbers, though. But I thought, I look at the numbers. I want to get your breakdown from an X's and O's standpoint. And I think we hit on a couple things there that are good.
What's going on with are people frustrated with the defense? What has been the vibe the last couple of days?
Yes.
Are they pinning it on a certain player or players or?
Well, the fans always want to go after the coach.
Right. That's low hanging fruit.
Yes, because they feel like if you could just change that one guy, it's going to fix everything. Yeah, which was rarely, if ever, the case.
It doesn't really happen that way.
No,
it's just I just want flesh. Like I want a head to roll.
And again, that's not to say that there's not plenty of blame to go around here. You know, you want to make the argument that the number of talented players on this team, you haven't seen the elevation you're looking for. Right. I get that. I understand that.
But it's the same coach that was coaching the Giants when they slobber knocked the Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
Right.
And so it's like that week it was like, man, the defense looks great. Hey, great job by everybody. Everybody's, patting each other on the back. And then the next week, get them out of here.
And again, you look at the pressure.
It's all or nothing.
You look at the pressure and sack rates. They're 22nd in sacks per pass attempt, which you think this group should be better than that, given the talent, right? They're 21st in pressure rate, which again, it's a number you think they should be better at, given the talent on this team. One number that I like to see go up a little bit, they're 30th in the league in stunt rate, in the percent of the time you use twists and stunts.
Right.
Only 18.5%. I feel like they do use a lot of twists and stunts when they get leads.
Right.
And on third and long, maybe you try to mix that in a little bit more on earlier downs and things like that.
Let me just throw that stat right there, the stunt rate, the fact that it's so high. Also,
no, it's low. It's
low.
third lowest.
Okay,
stunt
gotcha.
rate. Yes.
Yeah, but so they don't need the stunts to create pressure.
In theory, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel like whenever you get a team that stunts a lot, you can kind of catch them in some runs because now all of a sudden they've got a guy that, you're running a twist and you pin them inside. Now you can end up giving up a big run.
And maybe that's why they don't want to stunt a lot, because they're afraid that could add to their issues in the run game.
They don't want to open up any seams. So as an offensive lineman, anytime, like, all right, we go to the next week, hey, we come in on Wednesday, we start looking at, all right, who are we playing? You're scouting. Usually I would start taking a peek at them on Tuesday, just kind of looking at on a macro level, like what kind of defense are we facing? Is it a 3-4? Is it a 4-3? Is it a hybrid? Start looking at some of their first and second down defenses, and then as the week progresses, you get into the third down, blitz package, all of that. But when you're scouting the Giants and you're looking at you're in the offensive line meeting room right now, the 49ers, and you're looking on film of these guys, you're like, holy shit! Like these dudes are studs. Like we better bring our lunch bucket. So I feel like because the Giants have some guys that are they're a real menace to society. Like Dexter Lawrence is a problem. You have to account for him, and you have to look if he's in there on third down. Like we got to have 4 hands on him. We're not going to hold up if we throw the ball 45 times. We're not going to hold up one-on-one, asking our center or our guard to be one-on-one with Dexter Lawrence.
Though he has not won as consistently versus single teams this year as we have seen in years past.
I think the Dexter's production was way down, and I know Carl went to task on Dexter. I didn't see the whole thing. I'm not sure what the premise was with all that, but when I turned on the Eagles film, I went through and I watched every one of Dexter Lawrence's pass reps, and he has the center on roller skates, like he is driving him back into the lap of the quarterback. And a lot of times, I say half of his reps, it's a center and a guard that are on Dexter Lawrence, and everybody else is one-on-one. That's ideal. That's what you want. So that's how you get the fact that Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, or Abdul Carter, they can get one-on-one with a tackle. It's because of Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. If you didn't have Dexter, now you would be sliding to Burns, or you would be sliding to Abdul or Kayvon. So those guys, their production is a byproduct of what Dexter's doing. So you can look at Dexter Lawrence and be like, man, he's having a down year, doesn't have any sacks. No, you know why? Because the other guys are getting all the sacks.
Yeah, I will say
he's the one that's kind of carrying the brunt of all that. And a lot of times he will beat a guy if he is one-on-one, but the other guys are getting there before he can get there. So he's on his way to get a sack, and those guys are beating him to it. So I look at Dexter Lawrence, and look, there's not an offensive lineman in the league right now that wants to be one-on-one with him. Maybe Quentin Nelson would be fine with being on an island one-on-one with Dexter Lawrence. But I see him knocking, there was a couple times he took Toth, the center for the Eagles, and he just walked him straight back into the lap of the quarterback, one-on-one. And then other times when he's doubled, he's just kind of hogging up the middle a little bit, and that's kind of what he's asked to do in the scheme. But everybody else is on one-on-one protections, and usually when that happens, they're getting pressure.
I will say this. I don't think last year, the last 2 years really, there was always, 4 to 6 plays a game where you just see Dex do something that's like unbelievable. Like he wins quick, throws it out of the way, is in the backfield like that. I agree. He is still getting...
Those are like Herculean
what
plays.
I will consider slow wins, right? Where he's slowly marching the guy back to the quarterback. I feel like there were fewer quick, explosive wins right at the snap where he's running free at the quarterback than we've seen over the last couple of years in pass rush situations. So while the pressures are still there, again, this is anecdotal. I have not tracked this. You're not getting quite as many as the really off-the-bat, quick, swim, push him aside, whatever, straight line
tackle
to quarterback
for loss,
type of stuff.
Just wreaking havoc.
Correct.
Yeah, you're not seeing as much of that. And you know what I would be curious to see is Dexter playing more snaps at nose guard versus 3 technique than he did last year or the year before that. Like 2 years ago was when I think he had double-digit sacks. He led the team in sacks.
I looked last week. It's about the same as it was last year.
Is any of that changed?
From 2 years ago under Wink, and again, it's more of an odd man front system. He was a nose guard a little bit more under Wink. But the last 2 years, he has been he's still at nose enough, mind you. It's just a little bit less. He's out 3 technique a little bit more under Bowen, or offset from the center than he was underweight.
So I can tell just by watching film what other offenses think of Dexter by how they're handling it in the protection, and they're purposely not letting their guys be one-on-one with him. So when you look at that, it's like, okay, that's respect right there. That they're doubling him, and I know as an offensive lineman, like that, those are always the guys when you're going up against a defense. who are the guys that we've got to account for? Like, who are we going to attack? All right, and who do we have to account for? And I think Dexter is one of those guys you have to account for. Burns, 100%, you have to account for. You got to find it. You got to get a chip. You got to find a way to slow him down.
Yeah, Burns has gotten chipped a lot this year.
Yeah,
a lot this year with tight ends. All right. We got a bunch of people on the line. Sorry it took me so long here, guys. That was a good conversation. I wanted to get to all of that. I wanted to get Shaun's take on it as we now turn the page to the 49ers games. 201-939-4513. I'm going to try to get to as many calls as I can here, folks. So I'm a little faster through. I apologize, but I want to get in as many guys as I can. Let's go to Jason in New Haven. He'll lead us off today. Hey, Jason.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're good.
What's up, Jason?
Good. Thanks for taking my call, Shaun and John. Just real quick, I'll make 2 quick points and I'll take it off the air.
Sure.
I know you guys weren't on the show yesterday, but there was a talk, and, if you would just allow me real quick, I know talking about it probably you guys don't want to hear, but if you just allow me real quick, about, Lance and Matt talked about, the officiating. And while I agree officiating is going to be officiating, human error is part of sports, here's what I'll say. I never liked that idea that officiating doesn't impact the game, because in my opinion, it did. Now, I'm not saying we would have won the game, but it did affect the game.
No, Jason, it does.
Opinion,
but the thing about
right?
officiating, it's out of your control.
I understand that, John, but just let me finish. Right, the push play, the heralded push play, where he did fumble the ball.
Yep.
Who knows if they get that ball? I think the game was either tied or we were down 3 at that point.
No, it was a big play. No argument.
Right. So who knows what happens if they get the ball back, right? The bogus offensive PI on Slayton, which was just such a bogus call. They both were hand fighting. At worst, that should have been, whatever, let them play. The Mailata false start. So I'll leave it at that. I never got into...
Jason, hold on. There was also the hold on the Kobe Dean on the Skattebo touchdown catch that wasn't called when he got tackled from behind by a Giants offensive lineman. And then you had the dart fumble on the play in the pocket that was turned into an incomplete pass.
Right. Then you had the bogus. I mean, we go back and forth. We had we had the Wandale pushing it, quote unquote, pushing it back. We go back and forth. But I'll go on to my next point.
Yes.
The defense. It's been bad just overall, right? And I'll take it off here with this. Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to talk about coaching, heads should roll on this program, because it's not going to go. I'll leave those kind of conversations for my friends and text messages. But here's what I'll say. I remember last year, because at the end of the day, you can't fire all 11 players, or you can't cut all 11 players. So here's what I'll say. I remember John Mara after last year stating he didn't like teams going up and down the field on us. And while the season isn't over, right, he stated he wanted to feel better going into this year. He wanted to feel better about what was going on. We have Dart. We have Skattebo. That was a rough injury. Hopefully he heals up and comes back 100%, as well as Neighbors and whoever else is hurt. But while you can't necessarily always blame the coaches or the players, everybody takes fault in this. And that includes the coaches. So at the end of the day, I would like to see how Mara would answer it. Now, the season is over. I get it, fellas. But I would like to see how he would feel now at the end of the year about our defense. And I'll take it off the air, fellas. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Well, the first thing before I give it to Shaun here, to your point, there's 9 games to go here. So there's a lot more to figure out as we go along here.
Yeah, just to address his first point with the officials, look, this is... I feel like every year there's always like a couple of games that just kind of brings everything to the surface and everybody gets hot and they get heated. The one thing I will say is, the one thing I always ask for is just be consistent. And that's the one thing that I think every player asks for. Be consistent with how you call things and how you call penalties, how you see different things. There are times where watching a replay in slow motion, and we're like, I don't know. Is it a catch? Is it not a catch? Is it a touchdown? Is it a first down? I don't know. You can have a conversation while you're watching in slow motion. The referees are doing this in live speed. So the human error and the human element to this, it's always going to be there. And I think it's a part of what makes sports real. You never like it when the calls go against you, but I think a tough thing for an officiating crew is they're a team. They're like an offensive line. So you've got how many officials? 8 officials on the field. if 7 of the officials are looking at the play and they're like, oh, it's still going, but one official sees it as it is stopped and he blows his whistle, they're all on the hook for that.
That's a good point.
And it could be the guy on the sideline that he thought the progress had stopped and, I thought the play was over. And so he blows his whistle, and the guy that's over here is saying, man, he's still going, and the ball was out. Like, I'm not blowing the whistle because it looks like he's still fighting for yards. They have different perspectives, different angles. They're looking at it from different angles and different viewpoints. So those are the things I look at. It's like, okay, if one official blows a whistle because he thinks the play is dead and he's trying to stop somebody from piling on or getting hurt, I know that's always a big thing that is at their forefront is blow the whistle, get the play dead so nobody gets hurt. Then they all kind of have to fall on that sword. And that, that's part of the thing that happens during a game is one official sees something and they have to stick together. They kind of have to stand by the other guy's mistake. The other thing I will say is every official after every game, they get graded. So don't think that they're like, oh yeah, you know what? I had a couple bad calls. Okay, get them next week. Oh no, they're held accountable. They are graded on calls that they made, erroneous calls. They're also graded on if they missed calls. So if there's a penalty on a play that happened that they did not throw a flag for, they get docked for that as well. So the officials are aware of this, and the best officials, the ones that have the best grades throughout the season, they're the ones that get asked to officiate the playoffs. And then the ultimate goal for these officials is to get the Super Bowl. That means you're the best crew throughout the whole season.
Shaun O'Hara, referee defender.
They're motivated. I mean, look, I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just saying
you're wearing stripes. But they're horizontal, I think. They aren't vertical stripes. Sorry.
I think it's a tough job, and I think it's kind of like being like a long snapper, right? Like nobody ever talks about you until you mess up. And that's kind of the one thing. The one thing I will say about, since we're kind of making a joke about the referees, I have been lobbying for years now to change the uniforms on the officials. Stop with.
I've not heard this. Why?
The black and white is no longer. They make their uniforms gray because everything is gray. Every call now in the NFL, it's not black and white. Everything is gray. You know what color the officials wear in the NBA? They wear gray. All right, it's neutral. All right, you're not.
So you want a metaphorical color for the
black and white officiating is gone. It's with the dinosaurs. It's extinct.
Oh, you're funny.
Everything is gray now. So give them gray uniforms. Stop with the black and white. It's not accurate.
And the other part of Jason's final question: how you think Mr. Mara will look at this in terms of, and even talk in general about this thing, getting better and taking a step.
I think when you look at the defense as a whole. Look, there have been some games where they've been stifling and they have taken over the game.
That's what's frustrating about this. Like the Charger game, they were great.
They're inconsistent. That's what's, it's like, okay, the Chargers game, they came to life. The Thursday night game against the Eagles, man, they stuffed them. That was the defending Super Bowl champions. Saquon Barkley ripped off 31 yards in the first 2 carries of the night, and then they clamped them down.
And they were even okay.
That was it.
They were even okay against the Chiefs in that game. Patrick Mahomes didn't kill him in that game.
Well, even week 1 against Washington, I mean, that game could have won that game. Look, the Dallas game fell apart at the end. Same thing with Denver at the end. But going into that Denver fourth quarter, they hadn't given up a touchdown in 5 quarters. So, it's very, they're hell or high water. It's like outhouse or penthouse with them.
Right.
And I think that's what's frustrating, and that's what's kind of tough. But, look, the offense... Look, for the last couple of years, I mean, the previous 2 seasons, how many times did we hold the other team to 15 points and still lose? I still think about the Buffalo game. We go with the Buffalo. I mean, the defense shut them down, and we still find a way to lose. So, you kind of take it all in and kind of look at it like, are we trending in the right direction? Are we consistent? And if we aren't, why is that? Is it player execution, or is it the message is not being delivered and being received in the way that it should be? Those are all things that you address at the end of the year. I don't anticipate anything happening during the season because I do think there's enough good football. Like if you are going to present evidence on either side, there is enough evidence for both conversations and for both accusations.
We did get some injury news from Dottino that I missed while we were having our in-depth conversation, and Salomon. So these foreign players will not practice today. Jermaine Illuminor, Jalen Hyatt, which I believe I saw someone put dentist in in parentheses there.
Okay,
So
too much
dentist,
candy.
it'll be Jalen Hyatt tooth, apparently. Daniel Bellinger, remember he left that game with an injury. Chauncey Golston, who missed the game. Cordell Flott is in concussion protocol. And Art Green, who left the game with a hamstring. Brian Dable on Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo. They'll be at practice. We'll see how much they do. So that could mean limited. That could mean on the side with the trainers. That could mean full. So we'll have to wait for the report this afternoon to see exactly.
Yeah, but that goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about. And you can never use injuries as an excuse because every team has them. But the Giants have been hitting hard at corner. I mean, Black, they just signed him, right before the game, activated him, and he ended up playing. So Adebo being out there, he's your best man corner. You're playing a ton of man defense.
And Flott's been really good this year, too.
And Flott, they both have been banged up. Javon Holland not being out there, now that changes things. You've got, different safeties in there. Dane Belton was thrust into action against Denver. So, whenever you're rotating guys like that defensively in the back end of it, there's a ripple effect there.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's go to Coach Kevin in Arizona. He wants to talk about Cam Skattebo. Coach, what's going on?
Hey, yeah, I was just, I thought it was ironic. Oh, by the way, good to see you, John and Sean.
Yep.
What's up, Kevin?
I just thought it was really eerie. I just wanted to share something. I just have a quick comment, and then I have two quick questions at the end. I was one of the broadcasters on the pregame show had mentioned that he had compared Cam Skattebo to kind of like a Rocky Blyer. I don't forgot which one it was that mentioned that, but and I thought that was really interesting because, the history of Rocky Blyer, where he got the injury and the right ankle blown off with a hand grenade and all this stuff, and how he battled back and got back and became a great player. And I thought it was so ironic that the day that they mentioned that, later on in the game, the same right ankle happens to Cam Skattebo when they're making that comparison. And I don't know who made the comment. I wish I could remember, but I just thought that was so ironic. The good news is that I take from it is
I would guess, Kevin, really quick, I would guess that was Terry Bradshaw because he played for the Steelers. He played for the Steelers. So I'm guessing that was probably Terry Bradshaw.
Okay. I know I heard it before the game. I just thought, wow, that is so eerie that right ankle again and was shattered. It wasn't a hand grenade, obviously, but it was the same result, a compound fracture. But the good news is, and I'm kind of looking forward to this since it's a modern-day technology, Rocky came back and became a great player, an all-Pro Bowl player. And I hope the same for Cam Skattebo, and I know all of us feel that way because my heart sank when I saw that. Now, my two quick questions are this. I noticed after the game on the presser with the quarterback, Dart looked really shaken up. I never seen him like this. Usually he's very confident and very calm, but he looked rattled. He was unstable back and forwards and just kind of mumbling, and he looked really out of it. Now, my question is, do you think the loss of his good friend is going to mess up the energy, or do you think he's changed it all? You guys are in the clubhouse. You see these players. What do you think is going to happen with Dart's attitude, his play, without his right-hand man? And then the second question I have is, do you guys feel that the defense has given up on the defensive coach? Do you feel, based on the comments and the interviews, that he's lost the defensive players?
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate the call.
All right, that's my two questions.
Thank you. I would say no to the last one.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know where. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I haven't heard anything about that. No, I don't think that the players are questioning Shane Bowen. I don't think there's a mutiny. I think they're upset that they lost, and it sucks to lose to the Birds too. That feels like even worse of a loss.
And I think that was part of the Dart post-game presser thing too, Sean. When's the last time do you think in Jackson Dart's life he walked out of a football game having been dominated the way the Eagles dominated the Giants, given how good Ole Miss was?
I mean, more times this year than he's used to.
But at least all the losses this year have been close ones. They haven't, this was, look, the Eagles took it to the Giants on Sunday. They did.
Yeah.
The Saint game was close that he played in. So it was just a turnover deal. The Denver game was close, and then they won the other two. So,
yeah, I feel like Dart, I think it was a number of things. I think it was a combination of it. But I think at first and foremost, it's the fact that they got clobbered, like you're saying. It's the fact that we lost a divisional game on the road, and it wasn't competitive. like they had hoped. I think you add to that the Skattebo injury from a player's standpoint, what you're losing in the player, the energy, the fire that he brought, the identity that he brought, the positive attitude that he brought to the offense. All of those things are a big part of it. And of course, yeah, when it is one of your good buddies, like it hurts. It hurts to see him. And it was a horrific injury. Like Jackson Dart's reaction immediately on the field. I mean, he turned around, like, you know, I wasn't sure if he was going to dry heave or not. Like, it was grotesque. And all the players immediately signaled over for that. So,
I mean, Shaun, I saw live on the fast motion thing, and I was watching with Tiki. I go, Tiki, his ankle sideways. And I looked away. I didn't even look at the first replay they showed because I saw it live, and I did not want to see what it looked like in slow motion.
Yeah.
And obviously the players have a much better view of it on the field than we do at home.
It was horrific. You know, like Malik Neighbors, when he went down, you know, it was a knee injury. He's down. Like, that was a very somber moment, and everybody, you know, you looked at it like, all right, it looks like a knee. It doesn't look good. But, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
It reminded me of the Dak Prescott injury that he suffered against the Giants 4 years ago.
Alex Smith, you know, with his leg injury. You know, you look at something like that. Rich Seubert actually went through something similar as well. Back in 2001, I think it was, 2001 or 2002. He was playing left guard, and it was actually against the Eagles. And it was right here at Giant Stadium. He suffered a compound fracture of his left ankle, carted off. I mean, the bone was sticking out of the sock. Like, it was grotesque, and it was hard. And the hardest thing to do is to see your brother over there and to see how bad the injury is. And you don't know what to do. Like, you don't want, like, you want to be there for him, support him, but you also, like, you got to keep playing. So you go over there and you tell him, like, hey, man, you're going to be okay, but you don't really know if he is. Like, because it's that horrific and it's that grotesque. So that stuff, you know, you were bringing up the grenade situation. Look, when you're in war and when you're in battle,
I can't believe you just used the expression "the grenade situation."
Well, I'm trying to think of his name, the Rocky
Blyer.
Rocky Blyer.
Do you want me to tell you the actual story?
Well, I mean, I think we get it. But what I'm saying from a reference is when you're serving in the military and you're at war, like, these things happen, and it's
life and death.
Yeah, it's life or death. Football, you're not kind of thinking along those terms. So when something like that happens, it kind of puts a whole nother spin on it. And so I think that is very tough. And then it's hard. All right, he goes off, and everybody, all right, hey, game on. Here we go. Right. Now you got to go and play.
Right.
What I did think was interesting was on the very next play, you know what Jackson Dart did? He went deep. That very next play, he throws the bomb to Slayton.
That was the Slayton one, okay.
And to me, you know what? I was like, good for him. Like, he was like, you know what? I'm going to go win this game. F that. Like, my buddy just got carried out on a stretcher. I'm going for the jugular. Like, it wasn't like, hey, let's just run a easy conservative play and let's be gentle. He was like, no, I'm going for it. And I love that about him and about the play call. So I don't know what the play call was in the huddle, but he took a shot on the very next play, and his thought was, we're going after these guys, and I'm going to try to score a touchdown. And it was a great ball, and Slayton should have caught it. And you know what? He got caught trying to one-hand it because he was shielding off the defender. But if Slayton catches that ball right there, I mean, that was, to me, that's what you want from your quarterback. That's the kind of assassin that you want at that position. That, all right, that sucks. I got to put that on mine, and I got to go. I'm in full attack mode right now. And I know they were trying to win that game regardless, but when your guy goes down like that, look, it stings. But I think it makes you value the fact that, look, you never know when this game is going to be taken from you. You got to play every single play like it's your last.
So Rocky Blyer, Vietnam, August 20th. I'm looking for it.
Was he in the NFL and then he went and served? Like,
good question.
Like, was he playing and then enlisted and then
after his rookie year, he got drafted into the Army in 1968.
Gotcha. Wow. Imagine
so
that.
In 1969, he got assigned. He went out there. He was wounded in the left thigh by an enemy rifle bullet when his platoon was ambushed in a rice paddy. While he was down, an enemy grenade landed nearby after bouncing off a fellow soldier. He tried to leap over it, and it exploded, sending shrapnel into his lower leg. His right foot was severely damaged in the blast. He was later awarded the Bronze Star and Purple Heart.
Wow.
And eventually went back, played in the National Football League, and had a significant. He had a 1,000-yard year in 1976. So It took him a while. He wasn't right. He didn't actually rush for any yards. He rushed for 17 yards in 72. And then he finally started playing again seriously in 73 and 74. So Yeah, I had not, honestly, I was not that familiar with that story. Maybe I should have been.
And he ended up going on to rush for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he rushed for 1,000 yards in 1976. Yeah.
Wow.
For the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's impressive.
Yep.
I mean,
4-time Super Bowl champion.
Take one in the thigh, and then you also get a grenade. Like, talk about a bad day.
Yeah, yeah, that is not what you're looking for.
But just what a different world. Like, so imagine you play your rookie year in the NFL, and then as you're getting ready for, all right, hey, year 2, my second year in the NFL, like now, next thing you know, you're carrying an M16 overseas, and you're fighting for our country.
Which, why, by the way, even if you're a pacifist or whatever, you should, whenever you meet a professional soldier here, you should thank them for what they do, because of our professional military, we don't have to have the draft right now.
Yeah,
and that's,
thank goodness,
very, very
and we're days away from our Salute to Service initiative here in the NFL, which I think is one of the best things that we do during the season is honor our military.
Absolutely right. All right, we got 2 more calls. I know we're at 1:30, but I want to make sure we get you guys in. And real quick, Skattebo did have a surgery according to reports. I know Ian Rappaport said off-season program and like in the spring. I don't know anything. No one has told me anything. I've just seen injuries like that before.
Yeah.
I think put the target on training camp.
Yeah,
and maybe hope he can get on the field by then. And then the question is, even when he's healthy, when does the explosiveness come back? When does that sort of strength come back to the leg, which will allow him to look like his old self? And according to reports, Malik Neighbors later this week is going to have surgery on his torn ACL as well. So I'm sure the Giants will announce that when it happens. Again, Ian Rappaport reported that earlier in the week. So sometimes people do prehab on these serious leg injuries, folks, to strengthen and stretch it out before they get the actual operation. And that's apparently, again, according to Ian Rappaport's report, what's going on with Neighbors.
Yeah, Cam was emergency surgery, and he had it down in Philly, and it was like, look, and that was because I think that it was some sort of a compound issue. So once it breaks the skin, and then they have to do that just because you don't want bacteria to get in there. For Malik Neighbors, the ACL injury, one of the reasons why you put it off is because when you have the ACL surgery, your leg muscles atrophy so badly because you can't flex them and you can't fire them while that ligament is healing and kind of grafting into your knee. So what a lot of guys, they found, what helps the recovery process is you push the surgery back a few weeks, and you train your VMO and your quad muscles, and you really work them and you strengthen them and build them up, knowing that they're going to atrophy, and that helps with the recovery on the back end of the surgery.
All right, I promise I'll get to you guys. We'll get to you. Let's go to John in Jacksonville. He's up next. He's an offensive line question for Shaun. John, what's going on?
Hey, how are you guys? Great show, by the way. Great insight. I really enjoy it. It's one of my best shows so far in this 2 months. So I have a question on the first question is offensive line free agency. Which guys that would you consider bringing back as a free agents, and which guys would you let go?
Well, there's only 2 guys that are free agents, John, right? It's a Illuminor and it's Van Roten, right?
What's JMS?
Well, there's
one more.
There's a couple. Well, I think there are 2 more. The backup center, I believe.
Oh yeah, Schlotman. Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah, I just meant the starters. And Evan Neal would be another guy that's a free agent after the year. Look, I know they like Marcus Bowe. I'm not letting Jermaine Illuminor walk out of this building if I'm making decisions.
Right.
He's been so good at right tackle, Shaun. I don't see how, with all the issues this team has had issues with in terms of finding good offensive linemen, you have one now. He's a good dude. Keep him in the building. And then Greg Van Roten, I don't know how much longer he wants to play. He's on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
That's kind of a Greg Van Roten deal. If he wants to come back on a cheap contract, I'd be happy to bring him back too.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I don't think we're in the business right now as the Giants of letting good offensive linemen walk out the door.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Illuminor has been very steady. There are some things that I think he can definitely improve on, but when you look at what he's done since he's been here with the Giants, he's been very consistent. I do like Marcus Bowe. I think that they like him as well. What is that? How does that factor into things?
Illuminor has played guard before.
Do you move Illuminor to guard and you put in Bowe, or do you put Bowe in at guard? I think those are things that they will definitely start to address when the offseason does arise. But to your point, I think GVR was on his couch, last year before training camp when they called him and said, "Hey, do you want to come back and be our 6th man?" And he was like, "Sure." And then he ended up starting and playing every single snap last year.
And I don't think he signed until June this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think he was a late signing. Yeah.
So look, Runyon's not going anywhere. JMS got another year on it. So look, I think you bring back as many guys as you can. Obviously, the market kind of dictates some of that too. So
of course.
look, Illuminor is a free agent. he's going to play the year out, and then let's see what's out there.
And Shaun, look, we saw the contract Dan Moore got last year. We saw the contract that the backup tackle in San Francisco got, who had never been a starter before. He got like $18 million. So it might not be cheap because teams pay for good tackles.
I think the decision ultimately could end up resting on Jermaine Illuminor. Like, it's what are your other options? Like, if you were going to get a big contract from another team, I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to compete with that, and I don't know if they are going to want to compete with that, especially if they have Marcus Bowe, who would give them a much cheaper option.
And by the way, if you're Jermaine Illuminor, he's never gotten a big payday before.
No, so I think
if he can get it, he has to get it.
Yeah, he's got to see what the market's like, and you know what? If he gets a good offer, it could be one of those things where he gives the Giants a chance to match, and then they have to make a decision. But I think the Giants they're in that mode right now. We got to keep drafting young guys. We got to grow guys from within, and bring in good talent to create more competition at all the positions and make us better. Not just the starting 5, but we need 10 solid guys that we can count on.
What's your second question, John?
Well, part 2 of this question is: you consider taking a higher draft choice as an offensive lineman? Because there's some good offensive linemen coming out in the first round. And I was considering saying, the first round they should take an offensive lineman because they're so good.
Yeah,
thank you, John. Appreciate the call.
John, I hear you on all that. It's a little premature for me to start looking at all that stuff. We don't even know where we're picking in the first round yet.
Right.
But I think you look at what's coming out. What does the draft have a lot of? Who are the best players, and where is the depth? Because every draft is different. You can get a guy in the second round who really would be a first rounder anywhere else, but because there's so many good players at his position, he fell to the second round.
It looks like it might be a better guard draft than a tackle draft right now.
I mean, I'm all for drafting offensive linemen, but I think when you look at this offense, like we need offensive production. Like, so if you have a first round pick and you're going to use it on an offensive player, if I'm Brian Daboll, if I'm Joe Shane, and if I'm Jackson Dart, give me somebody to throw the ball to. Give me somebody explosive that I can put next to Neighbors, and now we're playing with fire.
Hey, look, I'll say this, and again, we got to see where they're picking. To Shaun's point, they've put a lot of resources into the defense the last few years, Shaun.
Yeah.
Now it's time to make things as easy on Dart as you can. If that means an offensive lineman, great. If that means a wide receiver, great.
Yeah, points.
Or how about both? How about one in the first round, one in the second round? I'm good with that too.
Yeah, they did a good job this year, so go for it.
I am never going to say not to draft an offensive lineman. Yeah. I'm always in favor of doing that.
I mean, we used the 3rd overall pick on Carter. So
yes.
To your point.
Well, and the free agent money with the Debo and Holland.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So,
yeah.
And the trade and the re-sign of Burns. Thibodeau was a first-round pick.
Yep.
A lot of resources. Deontay Banks, first-round pick. A lot of resources into the defense. So I think this will, again, who knows what players will be available, but to me, this is going to make things better for your second-year quarterback type of draft in 2026. All right, final call. Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Hey, John. Hey, Shaun. Hey, I just want to say quickly, Illuminor is not very good. Run blocking, his PFF grade is horrible, in the 40s usually. But that's not why I called. Look, you went through some stats, John, and I'm going to go through them real quick. 30th in total yards allowed, the defense I'm talking about. 29th yards allowed per game. 27th in points allowed per game. 24th in passing yards allowed per game.
Yeah, it's not good enough, Charlie.
In rushing yards per game. And, we got 5 first-round picks. We got 2 second-round picks and 4 3-round picks in our 11 starters. It is pathetic. It is pathetic that this deep, and I heard all summer long, we're going to be a top 10 defense, where we might even be a top 5. Honest to God, this is the most pathetic. People in this building, in your building, overvalue this roster all the time. Shaun, and you're one of them. You overvalue this roster. They're not that good. They're bad.
Well, Charlie, look, when we talk about it, we thought you'd get jumps in their second year from guys like Phillips and guys like Newman. I don't think we've seen the jumps from those two guys we thought we might see. And I don't think we've gotten necessarily the level of impact that we thought we might get from the Debo and Holland edition so far. They've been solid, but we haven't gotten, takeaways and kind of big plays from those guys in the secondary. So I think when you look at it, that's probably why, right, Shaun, when you think about it that way?
There's been a lot of turnover in the secondary. So, I'm not sure what you're saying when you say we overvalue the roster. There are a lot of good players on this defense. And,
There
you know,
is?
we were
How come those stats I just gave you were totally awful?
because there's 11 guys out there. So, like I said before early in the show, you could have 10 guys doing a great job and one guy messing up, and it messes the whole thing up. So that's why it's called a team, and this is not fantasy football. This is real football.
All right.
So there are good players on that defense. There are players on the Giants defense right now that I guarantee you the 49ers right now, when they're watching film together and they're saying, dude, this guy's a beast. All right, we got to account for him. Kyle Shanahan right now is drawing up plays to try to block Brian Burns. He's drawing up plays to try to protect his quarterback from Dexter Lawrence and Abdul
Dexter
Carter.
Lawrence is not the same guy he was. He's hurt. For God's sake, you see him, he's hurt.
He's got 4 hands on him almost every play.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
So you can't say that about him without
He was leaning towards his right side. He was hurt. He was in pain. Why are they still playing him? Give him a break.
Charlie, he hasn't even been limited. He hasn't even been limited in practice in the regular season. Like I know everyone just assumes that he's hurt. He never had surgery on it. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you want to think that he's hurt, that's fine. I have not seen any evidence that he is.
Well, I put it this way. I never liked the nose tackle position because those players never have a long career because they're getting beat up by 2 guys, big offensive linemen like you, Sean, every friggin' week. You can't keep doing that, and especially when they were playing.
I think Vince Wilfork would argue with that. So would Chris Jenkins. So would Ted Washington. So would Sean Rogers.
Vince Wilfork, right?
I think there's.
Yeah, they didn't have long careers.
Listen, you're entitled to your opinion.
Thank you, Charlie.
Bill Neal,
Thank you, Charlie.
And Bert.
Not all opinions smell good.
Didn't have long careers either.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate the call.
All right.
I mean, I don't know where you want to play Dexter. You're not going to play him over the.
I don't know what he's talking about.
For the 2 interior offensive linemen. I mean, what are you going to do? Put him at edge at 355 pounds?
I've seen defensive players lay on the ground thinking, and I thought they were dead. And then 2 plays later, on 3rd and 9, they're getting a sack.
And I know that's the thing going on the internet that Dexter's got to be hurt. Why are you playing him? Guys, he's not limited in practice during the week. Like I see him in the locker room after practice. There's no like ice bag on the elbow. Like all I can tell you is what I see.
I don't understand the Dexter
That's
Lawrence
what I'm
heat.
seeing.
Well, I don't understand the heat that Dexter Lawrence is getting right now. You know, and listen, if you go in the defensive line meeting room right now and you ask Brian Burns why are you having such a good year, he'd point to Dexter Lawrence. I'm having a great year because that guy is doing all the work. I'm getting one-on-ones. I've got tackles on an island because they're trying to block that guy. Same thing with Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau. You turn on the tape on 3rd down and you look at how many times our defensive ends are one-on-one with the tackles. Why is that happening? That's because Dexter Lawrence is commanding respect inside. He's got 2 guys, all right? He's got 4 hands on him on 3rd and 7, trying to just keep him from pushing that pocket back so our quarterback has room to step up. So I don't know what to tell you, Charlie. I mean, you're watching a different game than I am, buddy.
Sean, this was fun, buddy.
Thanks, pal. This was awesome.
Enjoy your Halloween. Don't steal too much of your kids' candy. Now, do you actually just overtly steal it, or do you wait for them to go to sleep and then you take it?
I'm not a huge candy guy, but I will dabble.
Now, do you steal it in front of them and just like mock them for and steal it, or do you just wait till they go to sleep and then you?
I don't steal. I don't steal. The only thing I'll steal in life is kisses, but I don't steal candy. I will say, what do you want to give Daddy?
So you extort the candy.
I put it on them.
So you extort the candy.
I want you to make the decision. You what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to part with? And then you find out what they don't like. Because if they're like, here, you could take these. I don't want these. Then you know, all right, you don't like that candy. You're not. But then I know.
Can you veto what they try to give you?
I can veto, but if they give it to me out of the kindness of their heart, I will accept it, even though I don't like the candy.
That's nice of you.
I want to see. I want my child. I want to see them. Are they willing to give up the candy that I know that they like? Ooh. That shows how much they love me, or the thought of another person. That tells me what kind of core values they have. Are you willing to part with some of your favorite candy to give it to somebody you care about because you want to see them happy, or are you in it for yourself? So it's not just candy. You know, when they say trick or treat, sometimes it is a trick.
That is some parenting
we
insight.
We got
from
deep
Shaun
on the Halloween
O'Hara.
stuff.
That is very good. All right, that's all the time we have for Big Blue Kickoff Live, the official Cadillac, brought to you by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. We're in the Hackensack Meridian Hill podcast studio. Keep getting better. Check out Giants Huddle podcast this week, folks. We'll have Papa's Perspective, Giants Hangout, and Draft Season all up on that over the next couple of days. Tony, Pauline, and I on Draft Season, we go through the top performing rookies so far in the 2025 season. We talk a little bit about Jackson Darr in that episode, so make sure you go check that out, and Cam Skattebo for that matter. For Shaun O'Hara, I'm John Schmeelk. We will see you tomorrow. It's Madeline and Casillas on a special Thursday edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live at 12:30. We'll talk to you then.